Hello everybody, I'm Seth Davis and welcome to Center for Healing Arts. In this episode, we will be discussing chakras. I researched this information online. It's easily acceptable to anyone who wants to find it. And basically, no one really owns this information. These are well-known things. And so the reason why I'm discussing these energy systems is so that we can understand how the human systems are made up, how they are created. And to people who don't believe this kind of thing, it's okay, because in future episodes, I'm going to be explaining the same kinds of concepts in a different way using physics. What I like to do are bridge all these concepts and create a well-rounded understanding of what's happening. There are 14, or some people say 15, great nerve centers in the physical body, and in the astral body, and in the body of the soul. These centers are called chakras. And in Sanskrit, chakra means wheel, or spinning vortex of energy. So these vortexes are actually represent the regions of the mind power, and each one of these chakras governs certain aspects of our inner being, and together they comprise what makes up these subtle components of human beings. When inwardly perceived, they are colorful. So the chakras have different colors, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the different names and the centers. Two great yoga teachers were talking amongst themselves. It was the great yoga teacher Manu, and he was the speaker here, and he was explaining to another great yoga practitioner, Kardama Muni, about the world of matter. They're talking amongst themselves, and he's saying, "Oh Lord," he's saying to the creator of all things, "You are the one without a second, desiring to create. You create, maintain, and dissolve the creation by winding up your energies. The diffusion of these energies are under the control of your secondary energy, yoga." So there's a linking energy between the cosmic creation and the created. So that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the link between worlds, creation versus the creator. So in that link, the link of that, there are different levels of evolution. In yoga, the path of ancient India clearly observed the creation to be nothing but a variety of transformative energies, primary and secondary. So they're referring to the matter in the cosmos, and to the body and in the individual, matter is the secondary manifestation of spirit, because matter is produced from spirit. So it is for this reason that the body is known as the secondary energy. Even though the body is visible with skin and bones, it actually is a conglomeration of different energies of matter, both subtle and gross. These energies are higher controlling factors of the functions of the bodily mechanism, both physical and psyche. The control is activated from certain energy centers, which are known as chakras. So what that's saying is that the chakras are spinning energy vortexes, electromagnetic vortexes, which are interfacing with higher dimensions and lower dimensions. The prime mover of which is the consciousness means you have to be able to think about it to understand it. You have to know that it's a thing. So that's part of being a human being, is having that higher intellect of knowing. How can the knower ever be known? How can we know the unknown? This is how we're explaining it right here. The consciousness is the prime mover. That means that it has to be engaged for anything to happen. Okay, so which came first, the chicken or the egg? The consciousness utilizes the interaction of the three modes of nature of matter. goodness and energy and passion. All these things are combined up in that. So it has to have some kind of motivating factor. Otherwise, we won't do it, right? Because that's the nature of the universe. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Objects in rest tend to stay at rest. That's a law of physics. So to all the science people out there, we're going to talk about all this stuff in terms of physics in future videos coming up real soon. So the consciousness initiates the movement of the energies. The energies form into something, and the something that it formed into are called koshas, which we made another video on. I highly recommend you watch it. The koshas are the medium of the 5 kinds of air, so prana, apana, samana, vayana, and udana. And finally, it makes a mechanism of the subtle body, identity, intelligence, and mind. And the gross body, made up of the perceiving and working senses, work. So that for the senses, for human senses to work, the koshas, the sheath that wraps around the body, has to be engaged in to a link, a connection with the consciousness and the ether. The perceivable reality as mind and matter is merely an external transformation of the dvitya, or the second level of voltage of energy. So the Yoga Shastra confirms this. This is from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras 4.5. Consciousness and unconsciousness are spun in harmony, so that's a balancing nature of different forces. In the phenomenal world, in the human species of life, the harmony is in full blossom. It makes the human body as the most evolved mechanism of matter. So what that's saying is the human body is the ultimate cosmic creation with so many ingredients in it from all over the universe that makes up the body and the energies and the subtle energies. The cerebral spinal system with 72,000 fine nerves is the power supply for this complex factory of the human body. And the main switchboards are converged in chakras, the 6 and 7 psychic centers. So to visualize this from a technical point of view, the human body is endowed with a sensory radar system. So the mind that receives and transmits radiant energy frequencies through the towers of the sense organs. So eyes, ears, nose, mouth, tongue, skin. And that's from the Bhagavad Gita 2.14. So even the ancients are talking about these things. The spinal cord is the in-out canal to the central biocomputer of the human factory administration. The chakras are 6 interactive psychic spheres controlled by an electroconductive genetic program. In alignment with the glandular system by the networks of the 5 kinds of life airs, there exists a body of light within the spinal column. And in a lot of my work in the structural integration and the massage therapy, we're all the time accessing the spinal column. So all of those subtle energies and fluids that are flowing up and down the spinal column, as a therapist, as you're accessing them, you will develop sensitivity to that and be able to feel the different biorhythms as you gain experience and confidence. The chakras are 6 psychic spheres. They're in alignment with the glandular system, the lymphatic system. That's referred to as nadis in N-A-D-I-S in Sanskrit, in Ayurvedic, by the 5 kinds of light. The body's light, the jyoti of the body of light. Taittiriya Upanishad within the spinal column. The psychic body of illumination has a vibrating infrastructure that consists of a metaphysical field of electromagnetic power lines or force. The ultra frequency points of this system have their monitor screens set up in the palms and the soles of the feet and the solar plexus and the crown. There are chakras all over the body. There's big ones, there's little ones. There's all kinds of channels connecting each of them called nadis, and those nadis are passageways. We're going to make a video on nadis here in the future. So you can check that out too. If you don't understand Nadi, Nadis, it's a really interesting one, and you should go ahead and watch that one. In yoga and tantra scriptures from ancient Hindu texts have a very detailed and scientific knowledge of chakras. So this has been around since the beginning. This is not something new. These guys have been talking about this forever. Okay, so yeah. Following the Vedic tradition, the yogas allow the person to conceive of creation in terms of several planes of existence, from the plane of bliss at the summit to the plane of the physical matter below. Each plane has a different manifestation of its own psychological principle. Since both the body of the universe and the body of individuals, especially in the case of fully evolved humans, human form, have the same ingredients, one can see the physical body of the humans as a mini representation of the universe. What that's saying is all beings are created equal, and all consciousnesses are created equal. And depending on the individual, you can make it what you will. You can make it what you want. You are what you think you are. The only difference is that matter is of a varied, multi-dimensional potency when it manifests as the universal body. I'll read that again. The difference is that matter is a varied, multiple dimensional potencies when it manifests as the universal body. So it's just saying there's a lot of levels in the body. It's complicated, but it's not complicated. The various grades of fully evolved human species have in the design of their bodies limitations to deal with various dimensions of matter. So that's saying that just by our nature, we're existing in multi-dimensional universe simultaneously at the same time. And we don't even really recognize it. We don't think about it. But as the energies shift and we're moving into ascension, these kinds of things are going to be coming up to the forefront of human consciousness and understanding. So we're learning about it as we go. It's been here the whole time. It's just that we haven't recognized it, or we forgot about it, and now we're remembering it. So these are the ways that we can remember and reintegrate about what we are made of. A lot of people don't think that the body is an important thing to care about. A lot of spiritual aspirants live an ascetic life, which means they don't partake in pleasure-seeking events, in external worldly activities. They're very disciplined and everything like that. The universe gives everybody a chance, and it's saying if you are a lower conscious human being, I mean, if that's the hand that you were dealt, it's okay, because you can ascend up and attain levels of mastery. I'm one of them. So I've worked really hard, and I've worked my way up to a certain level of attainment of mastery over the understandings of these teachings. I put the time and the effort in, and that's what you have to do. And that's how come anyone can become a martial arts expert if they want to. For example, it's because they work really hard and they can understand it that way. They attain the level of mastery. So for anyone out there trying to raise their vibration, receive higher consciousness, receive encoded messages from the light, keep working, because it's all there for you. You can have it. Everything is there for you. There are, in beings of man and woman, certain, they're called nodi, not to be confused with nadi. So these are nodi, which are centers connecting with the human with universal planes of existence. And when properly tapped into, they open up one's being in the respective planes and the powers that are characteristic of principle governing of those planes. And again, those are called chakras in the Indian system. So the Vedantas explain it in a very scientific, universal, cosmic way. And it's a beautiful concept. Thanks everybody for being with me today. I appreciate you. If you like this kind of thing, please hit the like and subscribe button, as well as the notifications bell, so you don't miss any of the future videos we make for you. Thanks everybody again, and God bless and Godspeed.